Om. 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 Welcome everyone to the Bangalore session of the monthly Cutting the Ties That Bind session, popularly known as the Phyllis Krystal Method. So we're based here in Bangalore, but I understand we have an international audience. So Aravind is taking care of that on the side. If you have any questions, please connect with him. If you have a cell phone, I forgot mine today. I feel so happy without it. But if you have a cell phone, please silence it for the duration of this session. Okay. What we'll do is we'll start with the maypole, and then I will take you through the cosmic tree and then the cosmic parents. I'd also like to show you a little simple technique to help you augment or accelerate the flow of energy that you get from the high C or higher consciousness. So we'll go through that as well. And then there is a request from online to show how to do the heart mind balance. So we'll go through that as well. How many people know how to do heart mind balance here? Okay, so gents, you guys are, need to catch up a little bit. So we'll also make sure teach everyone that as well. Okay, so are you ready? Let's start with the maypole. Let's begin. Imagine that you are seated, in a golden circle. The golden circle is on the ground wherever you are sitting. And as you are sitting, just relax a bit. If you're sitting in a chair, uncross your legs so that both of your feet are flat on the ground. If you're sitting on the floor, then just sit comfortably with your back straight, your neck straight, and your head straight. You can place your hands, if you like, in your laps, palms facing upward like little bowls, just telling the mind that you're here to receive now from the high C or the higher consciousness. You're seated in your golden circle. The golden circle represents your inner territory, your inner space. This is an exercise that you should do every day. The diameter of the circle is as big as if you took both of your arms on either side of you, fingertips stretched out, and it's on the ground, wherever you would be standing if you were to stand up. That is your inner space. It does not matter if there are others who are closer to you in the physical plane. This is happening on the inner scene. Imagine in this room, wherever you're seated, there is a gigantic maypole, a large pole with a golden globe or sphere on top. The top of that maypole, the golden globe, represents the high C or higher consciousness, that higher aspect of all of us. You can think of it as God, you can think of it as Krishna, Jesus, you can think of it as the Buddha, Sai, it doesn't matter. It could be a formless aspect of God or a God with a form that you adore. It is all the same. Hanging from the top of this maypole, just below the globes, are beautiful multicolored ribbons. Each ribbon has its own color, its own texture. And in your inner scene, get up from your golden circle, go to the maypole, and take one of these ribbons in your hand. Notice the texture, notice the color. See, how does it feel in your hand? Is it thin? Is it thick? Is the texture rough or smooth? And then holding on to this ribbon, take it back to your golden circle, sit down again. This ribbon represents your connection to the high C or higher consciousness, which is present within all of us. And notice that even though wherever we are in the world, whether we're sitting in this room or in any part, any country, we're all connected to the same high C via the same maypole. We're all connected, one together. Feel for a moment how we're all connected simultaneously to the higher consciousness, the high C. Now we begin to receive energy from the high C. First, we start with relaxing energy. Relaxing energy. Think, feel, breathe, or imagine this energy from the high C, the top of the maypole, coming through the ribbon directly to you. As you breathe in, allow this energy to come into you, washing away all stress and strain, all your traumas, your anxieties. Just allow everything to let go. Just relax. As Phyllis would say, we carry so much tension, so much stress in the world today, and it prohibits us from connecting to the high C. We need to learn to let go, let go, to go. Relaxing energy is the first of the energies we receive from the high C with good reason. Allow yourself just to let go. Breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, really let go of whatever holding on, whatever no longer serves you. Breathe in again. And really, with an exhale, I want to hear it. Exhale out. Louder this time. You guys aren't breathing. Come on, breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, really let go. That's what I want to really let go. Take in that deep breath and really let go of that. Whatever no longer serves you, old beliefs, old patterns of thinking, old habits, old addictions, old traumas. Just let go of everything. It's relaxing energy from the high C takes care of everything. Now let us ask the high C to send us healing energy. Healing energy. Phyllis would often say that everybody, no matter who they are, has something about their physical body which is not quite right. And this healing energy of the high C is actually able to cure anything. It's just our belief and lack of self love that prevents us from having that happen. So as you breathe in, think, feel, breathe, or imagine this divine healing energy is coming to you. You're receiving the energy through a simple ribbon. But in your inner scene, allow the energy to flow to you as if it's coming through a huge hose, like a water hose or a fire hose that's open to its fullest strength. It's like a flood of energy coming to you. This healing energy is divine. It has its own intelligence and it knows exactly what it needs to do. Allow yourself to be healed of physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Now let us ask the high C to send us purifying and cleansing energy. Purifying and cleansing energy. Think, feel, breathe, or imagine this divine purifying and cleansing energy coming to you from the maypole. Phyllis also said that we can imagine this energy coming as if it's like a shower overhead, or perhaps a waterfall falling on top of us. Whatever you like, whatever comes to your inner scene. But allow it to clean away whatever no longer fits, whatever you no longer need. Again, those old things, your old attachments, your strain, your traumas, your old abuse, your difficulties and stress, whatever you may have seen or heard that does not suit you. Purifying, cleansing. Now let us ask the high C to send us strengthening energy. Strengthening energy. Think, breathe, visualize, or imagine the strength of 1,000 suns coming to you from the high C. More strength than you ever imagined. Physical strength, emotional strength, mental strength, and spiritual strength flowing to you as if it's coming from 1,000 suns. Phyllis would often say she hears people coming to her saying that they're so tired by the end of the day. But that's because they rely on their own limited ego strength. Whereas we would see Phyllis, even after the age of 100 plus, still fresh as a flower at the end of the day after giving a 10-hour long seminar, interacting with hundreds of people. She relied on the strength of the high C, and now you can too. This strengthening energy is all the strength that you, everything you require for strength is available in the divine strengthening energy of the high C. Now, let us ask for that most precious gift of all, the unconditional love of the high C. This unconditional love is what we have been looking for literally millions and millions of births. We looked for it outside of ourselves, through relationships, through wealth, through position, fame, achievements, work, family, relationships, whatever it is. We look for this something and we always look outside. But this unconditional love is available freely and abundantly from the high C. You don't have to earn it, you don't have to deserve it. It is your birthright. Let us think, feel, visualize, or imagine this divine unconditional love coming to us like a river. You're connected to the high C via a simple ribbon, but this flood of energy is coming like a river of energy and simply disappear into this unconditional love. Allow the unconditional love energy to flow so strongly that it fills your entire body and the entire room in which you are seated. Let the flow of energy become stronger still. Try to become nothing. Just disappear into that love, just as sugar would disappear into water. Now that we're filled with the unconditional love of the high C, let us share this love. Indeed, when you're filled with God's love, the only task for any of us is to share that love. That's all that God expects of us, if that much. Let us put our hands together in the Namaste position like you're going to pray. And let us first start with people whom are close to us, our family, our friends. Bring them just briefly to your mind's eye, and as they come, allow the unconditional love of the high C to flow from the high C through the ribbon to you, through your hands to each of them. Place each person in your inner scene before you just for a moment, and then move on to the next. Also include in this group people whom you don't like or who may not like you. It's important to send them love as well. And what Phyllis says is that she finds for many of her clients that just doing this simple exercise allows whatever difficulties in that relationship to simply dissolve away. Let's rest our hands again, back in our laps, palms facing upward like little bowls, again remaining connected to the high C. And take a few breaths in as you fill yourself once more with the unconditional love of the high C. It should be glowing like not one sun, but 1,000 suns, S-O-N-S, suns, S-U-N-S, sorry, S-U-N-S, 1,000 suns. You can do 1,000 SONS also, but that won't be very useful. 1,000 SUN, suns, glow so much with that unconditional love. And whenever you're ready, put your palms back together again in the Namaste position. And this time, ask the high C to send its love through you to groups of people who may be in need of its help. It could be those who are in nursing homes, in refugee camps, people affected by natural disasters, people who are in hospitals, in prisons, in mental institutions, orphanages, or home for the elderly. Bring each group of people to your inner scene and allow the love of the high C to flow to them. As this love flows, just be silent. Just focus on the flow of love. And finally, keeping our palms together, let us send the unconditional love to the high C, from the high C, this time to places in the world where its love is needed. It be places affected by war, by trauma, by disasters, places that are affected by unrest or political discord, places where there's disharmony. Also, send your love or the love of the high C to the leaders of these places, because Phyllis says it's the leaders who have the power to make real and meaningful changes in the lives of people who are there. Again, allow the unconditional love of the high C to flow through your folded hands to all of these places. Finally, let us share this unconditional love with ourself, because it's self love that is very important. Unless we love ourselves, we cannot share love with others. Let's place our arms around ourselves as if you're going to give yourself a big hug. Really squeeze yourself tight. Really love yourself as you give yourself a hug. And then inside to yourself, tell yourself, I love me. And now let's say it out loud all together. I love me. And now let's say it louder again still. I love me. And this time let's really say it. I should be able to hear it all over the world. I love me. Gently come back to the present moment. Stretch your arms and legs like a cat coming out of sleep. Rub your hands over your body. Gently come back to the present moment. It's 5:55, but my watch is fast here in Kadugudi in Bangalore. Okay. Now, how many of you in this audience have done the maypole before? How many, or let me ask this way, for how many of you is this the first time doing the maypole together? Let's just see a raise of hands. Okay, good. So everyone has done the maypole at least one time. Okay. What we're going to do today is we're going to focus on the cosmic tree and the cosmic parents. There are three symbols or exercises that are central to the Phyllis Krystal method. What are they? Maypole, cosmic tree, and figure of eight. So we're going to do all of them today. Actually, if you just do these three, you don't need to do anything else. But the cosmic tree by itself is important because it helps us to balance ourselves. It helps us to remain that balance no matter what we're doing. So we're going to spend some time on the cosmic tree and then go to the cosmic parents. But I see that many of you are not getting the maypole right, getting the exercise. So what I want you to do is to go back to the maypole. You see, when you do the maypole, you should be flooded with God's energy, okay? What I'm seeing you doing is that most of you are just saying like, okay, relaxing energy, relax, relax, relax. Okay, healing energy, healing, 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 and then you go on to that. And the energy that's coming to you is like a trickle. When you're doing the maypole, I should be able to feel it from here. Understand? Okay? When you're filling yourself with that much energy, with God's energy, I should feel it. I may be doing something else, but I should feel your sadhana. That's the power that you should have when you do this exercise. I could demonstrate for you, but I'd rather you demonstrate for me. Your flow, that flow of energy should be so strong that other people should take note. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. How do we do that? Tell me. How do we make that flow of energy stronger? What have we learned? I'm going to share one new thing today, but we've also discussed other ways. How do we strengthen the flow of energy from the high C using the maypole? What are the simple things we've discussed before? So do the maypole every day because practice makes perfect, right? If you just do it once in a while, nothing's going to happen. Yeah. Other things? Have the mind quiet. So this is a key thing. And so this is what I want to work on today is have the mind quiet. We're going to do it a certain way. Other things, we kind of discussed it a little bit during the technique. Other ways to strengthen the flow of energy. We're holding on to a ribbon, but how should the energy flow? Like a huge water hose, right? It's not limited to just a small flow. It's like a huge water hose turned on full blast. Okay. Do you control the energy? Do you try to send it certain places? Do you make it go like my foot is hurting, I'm going to send the healing energy to my foot? No. Healing energy knows what it needs to do better than you do. So you don't have to control it. You don't have to guide it. You don't have to direct that healing energy. It knows exactly where it needs to go. The same with all the other energies. The reason we send the love energy at the end is for our sake or their sake? Our sake, to help us to learn to be more loving so that that unconditional love flows all the time. Yes, it's very helpful. And those of you who join in the group maypoles that people are doing around the world have heard of people having miraculous cures when they go to the hospital or when they fall sick. We've all seen that. That's the power of the unconditional love. But the real reason is for that we learn to share God's unconditional love. So, what I want to see is that after you finish the maypole, you should be glowing. That tejas should be there. Second is while you're doing the maypole, I want to feel it from you. That is, it doesn't matter if you're sitting 5 feet away or 20 feet away. I should be able to feel your sadhana. It should affect me as well as affect you. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So this is what we're going to do. What we will do is go back to the maypole. This is the symbol that Phyllis had given us. So for the maypole, so you have your central pole with a ball on top, ribbons hanging down. Go ahead and take your ribbon, go back to your golden circle, sit back down. This time, let us ask the high C to send us the energy of divine purity. Divine purity. Okay? Breathe in deeply. Relax a little bit. Let go of all your tension. Let go of all your stress. Of all your problems. Let go of all your worries. And ask for that divine purity. here is the key. First, allow the energy to flow like a huge flow of energy, if it's gushing from a water hose. First step. Second step, feel yourself getting filled up completely with this divine purity. Third step, divine purity energy is so strong that it radiates out from you, affecting everything around you. Where it goes is not your concern. It's just the flow of energy is so strong. And now, the last and most important step. As this energy flows, be absolutely silent inside. Just focus on the flow of energy. That's all. Really just be aware of that flow of divine purity from the maypole through the ribbon, a huge gush of energy coming to you and through you. And gently come back. Wiggle your hands and feet. Like, whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, so how was that different from the maypole that we just now did? What did you notice that was different in what we did now versus what we did just previously? What do you think? Take the mic, please.
The maypole, we directed the energy towards a particular group.
That is when we do the unconditional of energy, but only at the end. But let's say when you're asking the maypole for, say, relaxing energy or healing energy, how was that different from what we just now did? What did you notice differently? What was different in terms of the flow or the quality of the energy or even the quantity? What did you see?
The mind went absolutely silent. And when you asked us to radiate that energy, let it radiate through us. And there was a kind of light, uh, a kind of the body was, I felt the body was light, made of light, is what I
Yes,
mean.
the body becomes light, right? First, I am in the light is in me, and then I am the light. Correct. So, this is the intensity that I want. Anyone else want to share? See, when you're doing the maypole, if you do this sadhana for yourself, it is selfishness. Really. If you're doing your sadhana just for yourself, it is selfish. You should be doing sadhana for the benefit of the whole world. Your sadhana should be for Loka Kalyana. That means when you connect to the high C and you're saying relaxing energy, healing energy, purifying, cleansing energy, strengthening energy, right? Whatever it is, You need to be doing it for everybody. Now, who gets it, how they get it, how they receive it, how they benefit from it is none of your concern. That the high C will take. What I want from all of you who are here today or watching this, when you are doing the maypole in your home, everyone in the house should know it. Understand? Everyone in the house should feel that, he's doing the maypole, she's doing the maypole, and they may not say maypole, they're doing their prayers, they're doing their before the altar, whatever words they want to use, it doesn't matter. But they should feel your sadhana. That is the power that you should have. I remember when my grandfather would meditate. My grandfather was a highly realized soul. His tapasya was so much that he would achieve such a balance of the panchabhutas, the five elements within him, that his body would actually raise off the ground. He would actually levitate. It's a state that certain yogis are able to achieve. But when he would meditate, the whole house would know. It was just that energy would fill the entire house. This is the kind of sadhana that you have to do. Most of you are just saying, oh gosh, finish, I'm so sleepy. And then, no, that is not right. Do your sadhana so that it fills the entire home, the entire office, the entire building. If you live in an apartment, let the entire apartment building be filled with the power of your sadhana. If you live inside a home or community, let the entire community be filled with the power of your sadhana. That is what sadhana is for, loka kalyana. Okay? Any questions on this?
First of all, when I did it this time, I just noticed that when the energy is radiating out more, the flow is a lot more in intensity than what I regularly do with the maypole. That was one thing. But
Why
when
do you
I
think that is?
because it's more unconditional than before.
Because you're sharing, right? Sharing. Before, what you did, you were just keeping it for myself. Send me unconditional love. Send me healing energy. Send me relaxing. That's all about me, no? That is not sadhana, no? Let it come to you and then go through you to everyone else. How it goes through is not your concern. To whom it reaches is not your concern. God will take care of that. But your sadhana has to be so powerful that when you are doing sadhana, I should feel it. Right? I will say that, oh, you're doing your prayers. Well, he's a very lovely individual. I may not put it into the words that you would recognize. It feels so peaceful when I'm around you. A very loving place. I feel so happy when I'm here. That's fine, but they should feel it. Okay? It goes to you and through you. Meaning, what happens before is you're just taking a small glass of water and filling it up. Okay? I want that flow to be so much as if you're taking that glass of water, which is you, and you're putting it underneath a waterfall. Okay? That's how it has to be. Everybody should feel your sadhana. That's the intensity it has to have. Other questions or comments?
When we do this, is it something that we have to keep in mind as a goal or something that others should feel our sadhana?
No. So that's a good question. Should others feel my sadhana or not? What they feel or what they don't feel is none of your concern. That the high C will take care of. It's none of your concern. But your concern is that your sadhana should be so strong that the whole world should stop and look. That is how the strength of your sadhana has to be. When Vishwamitra was doing his tapasya, and all the Brahma Rishis and Dev Rishis came to him to ask him to stop, why was that? His intensity was so much, right? That is the power of your sadhana that you have to have. That is what you need. None of this mellow, mild thing. No, that's not going to work. Okay. Are there questions online that we need to answer?
How to let the energy flow freely, sir?
How to?
Let the energy flow freely without any restrictions.
How to let the energy flow freely without restrictions? That's the question. So, if you go to certain places where the rishis are doing their tapasya, They may do different types, but one of the types that they do is they simply allow God's energy, the Shakti, that flow to flow through them. They do it for the sake of creation, for Loka Kalyana. They're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for the benefit of creation. And such rishis are in many, many places. So one way is to think of it like that. You, as your service, is allowing relaxing energy to come to you, right? You, as a seva, are allowing healing energy to come to you and through you. God's energy should flow to you and through you. Now, what it does is none of your concern. What happens is none of your concern. Your role is to have such a connection to the high sea that energy, that God, that divine energy is flowing through you all the time. Okay? And you may be aware of it, you may not be aware of it, but you should just be able to, in a second, reconnect back to the maypole and allow that energy to flow through you again. Okay? But what it does and who it goes to is not of your concern. Don't bother with it. Okay? That answer your question? Yeah. Do your seva as sadhana, your sadhana as seva.
So there are three questions
Mhm.
from our live audience. The first one is, can we use cleansing mantra during the energy flow?
No. Why you want to do that? That you're just doing cleansing mantra with your monkey mind. Monkey mind is stupid. Okay? Just be silent. Be silent. Look what happened when we did allow that divine purity to flow. How was it? When I asked you to become silent, how was it? No, it was much more intense, right? Yeah. Yeah. Don't introduce the monkey mind into all this. Just be silent. The mind knows exactly how to spoil things. So you just be empty and allow the energy to flow. When we're doing the maypole part, the first part, what you're taught in the beginning is receive the energies, the 5 energies, right? Relaxing, healing, purifying, cleansing, strengthening, and unconditional love. But then you have to let it flow through you. It should be constant, all the time connected to the maypole, 24/7, even when sleeping. Next question.
So the second question is, when we direct energy to group of people in some kind of pain, what do we do if we start feeling that pain?
This is a good question. I remember one of our senior teachers taught us this. So, for example, one of our senior teachers from the Phyllis Krystal Method, she would talk about how they would work with alcoholics, for example, as one group. It turned out that some of the people in that group were former alcoholics themselves, recovering alcoholics, and they had not finished their cuts from alcoholism for whatever reason. And so when they were directing energy to people who were suffering from alcoholism, they would be affected as well, right? So part of this work is to make sure that you're free of whatever it is that you're sending to. Let's say you're sending energy to people in hospitals. Even if you're not well yourself, you can still send that energy flow to them, the unconditional love to people in the hospitals. But if you're sending it to a specific situation, like people who have a heroin addiction, let's say, and you're a recovering heroin addict yourself, let's say, right? Then make sure that you have cut ties first before you start to work on these other people.
So the third question is, I feel a jolt when the energy flows through me. Why is that?
Monkey mind. Monkey mind. The monkey mind will try to spoil things. It will try to say, you are like this. The energy is so strong. The energy looks like this. It came around like this, and I saw Lakshmi, Shiva, Brahma, Jesus Christ, Buddha. It's all monkey mind BS. Okay? Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Focus on the flow of energy. Be completely silent. You know, when we would go to Swami, when Swami was in his physical form, for me, the greatest learning I had from him was not when we were talking. The greatest learning was just being silent and sitting next to him. There was no communication, outward communication. But what I learned from that was far greater. So when you're doing the maypole, you're sitting before the Lord, right? You're sitting before God. So be quiet. God will tell you exactly what you. Okay. So let's go now to the next exercise, which is the cosmic tree. Okay? I'll show you what this looks like. This is the symbol that Phyllis has from her symbol cards deck. So it's just a tree. And this could be any tree that you like. It doesn't have to be this one here. It could be whatever you like. Maybe some tree that you enjoy from your childhood, something that you remember, maybe a tree in your neighborhood or yard, wherever. But this cosmic tree exercise is very valuable because it helps to balance the masculine and feminine, the Shiva and the Shakti. In all of us, this tends to become imbalanced for various reasons. We see the masculine feminine imbalance in so many ways throughout the world today, even in our own lives, in our workplace, and in our homes. The cosmic tree helps us to retain that balance in all situations. In addition, it also supplies us with whatever characteristics we would have liked to receive as we were growing up, but somehow failed to receive. It could be more nourishment from our mother. It could be stronger guidance from our father. Whatever it is, the cosmic tree gives us that we may have missed out as we're growing up or in any stage of our life. Okay? So can we practice this together? All right. Now, Phyllis says that the cosmic tree exercise is very helpful when practiced before cutting the ties to either your human parents because it provides additional security. So if you're doing your primary cuts, your cuts to your parent, you should do the cosmic tree exercise because it gives you that additional security. Okay, let's go back into our inner scene. We're sitting in our golden circle. That golden circle is our own inner space. But you know what? Make it a sacred space. Make it a sacred space. You're still connected to the maypole. Ask the high C to indicate your tree to you in some way. You don't have to visualize it. It could be one growing in your garden, something from your childhood, or a tree that you saw at some time on vacation, even in a photograph or painting. You don't have to recognize the tree by name. Once you've identified the tree, walk towards it and put your arms around the trunk as if you're giving it a big hug in greeting. To satisfy yourself that the tree is firmly planted in the ground, tug on the trunk. Then, turn around with your back close to the trunk but not yet touching it. Just relax in the knowledge that this cosmic tree is your only truly reliable leaning post. You can either sit or stand, it's up to you, but let yourself fall against the trunk rather than exerting your will to lean against it. It's there to support you. Now, identify with the tree as it thrusts its roots deep down into the earth, representing our cosmic mother, and reaches up with its branches and leaves towards the sun, which represents our cosmic father. Feel as if you can do as the tree does with its roots deep down into the earth and its branches and leaves extending up into the sky. As you breathe in, feel as if you're receiving from the roots whatever the cosmic mother has to give to you. You might even ask for something your human mother was unable to give to you for some reason, maybe affection, love, support, validity, acceptance, or anything else that comes to your mind. And as you breathe out any negative feelings, memories, experiences, or anything that could prevent you from receiving what you need from the cosmic mother, such as feelings of rejection, a lack of love or acceptance, as well as blame or disappointment towards your mother. Maybe because she did not receive what she needed from her mother. Take 2 or 3 breaths and ask the cosmic mother to give you whatever she knows that you need at this time. Now, imitate the tree as it reaches up with its branches and leaves towards the sun, symbolizing the cosmic father. Breathe in whatever you're receiving from that source of nourishment. You might wish to ask to be given to those things your human father was, for some reason, unable to give you, such as courage, validation, acceptance, affection, and support, or anything else that comes to your mind. As you breathe out, let go of anything that could prevent you from receiving what you need from this source. Let go of sadness, anger, frustration, as well as blame and disappointment towards your father, as he might not have received from his father what he really needed, or let go of any other negative emotion that you're ready to release. Take 2 or 3 more breaths. Really put your energy, your imagination into this. Now breathe in 2 or 3 times from both of these sources simultaneously. Breathe in from the Cosmic Mother up through your feet and out through your head, and from the Cosmic Father down through your head and out through your feet. Observe the 2 streams of energy moving into all parts of your being, and relax with the balance that they're bringing to you. The cosmic tree represents the Divine Mother and Father. God is both our mother and father, and he can take a number of forms. Now we will ask God to represent itself as the cosmic parents, ask them to represent or present themselves in a more personal form. The cosmic mother will appear on your left side and the cosmic father on your right. But do not try to visualize any of them or project familiar personalities onto them. Just let them remain for right now, just rather nebulous, but large and very, very loving. Reach out your hands to take either side and to take their hands. Your right hand will take the left hand of your cosmic father, excuse me, and your left hand will take the right hand of your cosmic mother. As you take their hands, feel the energy entering through your hands from theirs. Now you can drop their hands and ask them to put their arms around you in a close, protective embrace, and allow yourself to sink into it and feel their love. This is your real home, your safe place, your heaven, and your haven. You can always retire at any time to be regenerated and accepted just as you are, without any judgment or criticism. Feel free to ask either one of the cosmic parents for advice about a problem, a situation, a relationship, or anything else that you need. Pour out your heart to them, for they are there to help you however you may need it. Now you can start to uncurl, move your arms and legs, arch your back, move your head, imitating your cat or dog coming out of sleep. Gently come back to the present time and date. It is 6:25 Srikanth Sola time, which is 5 minutes faster than regular time. We're here in Kadugudi on Saturday evening. Okay. So that's the cosmic tree and cosmic parents exercise. There are a couple of exercises from the cutting ties that bind work, the Phyllis Krystal method, that I would recommend you do on a regular basis. One is obviously maypole. Yeah. Second is cosmic tree. We go through it slowly when we do it here so that you can learn and understand how to do it. But on your own, you can do it a little bit faster. Not too fast, but you can do it at a pace that is comfortable for you. Then do your cuts from whatever you're working on. Always have at least one cut that you're doing. If you've had trauma during the day, difficulty during the day, quickly do a figure 8 from whatever it was that you saw or heard or experienced, so that experience you're free from. And do the figure 8 before you come home from work. So you're not bringing that work energy back home. So that when you come home, you are a husband or a wife, you're a sister or a brother, you're a mother or a father, and not a employee at your office, okay, or wherever you work. Beach ball, right? Also very powerful. And other balancing exercises. What are the other balancing exercises in the Phyllis Krystal method? Yin yang for balancing masculine, feminine, very helpful. Other balancing exercises, right? Tightrope, also known as the birds. Anything else? Mandala for balancing the 4 aspects, right? Physical, emotional. What were the other ones? Intuition and intellect, right? The 4 parts of ourselves. So these balancing exercises, mandala, tightrope or birds, yin yang symbol, these are very helpful to keep us on track so that we don't go off this way or that. And of course, the 3 core exercises that we just discussed. Now, despite all of that, there are times that you will get out of balance. So we will do the heart and mind balancing technique. This was actually taught by Swami to Phyllis. Okay, this was directly taught. Most of the cutting ties symbols were what Phyllis received in her reveries or meditation. And for the first 10 years of the work, the only symbol that she was shown was the golden circle. Imagine. Now, Phyllis had her own issues with feeling secure, feeling in her place because of her childhood experiences, but she had to work with the golden circle just for 10 years. And then later on, she was shown all the other symbols. But this heart and mind balance exercise was physically shown by Satya Sai Baba to Phyllis Krystal, and that's what we're going to do now. Before I do that, are there any questions that need to be answered from the audience?
There are 2 more questions. So the first one is, doing this feels light, but when I get back to normal routine, it feels tough to adjust. How to handle this?
So doing this feels light. Huh? And then when you go back
normal routine, it feels tough to adjust.
Okay.
How to handle this?
Does anyone else have this problem? Anyone else have this? Yeah. How do you? Can you just share the mic and see what do you do? You float off. What happens?
I've not practiced this symbol before.
Okay. But I think their problem is that when they do these exercises, they feel very light, and then they're not sure what to do, and they feel very light, and now you have to go back to the real world. You know, your mother-in-law is criticizing you about your cooking, your kids are screaming and whatever. These problems happen. So how do you deal with that? This is the challenge of the Kali Yuga, right? The reason we're given all this muck is so that we can be like that lotus amidst all the mud. So when you feel light, can you carry that light back into your real world situation, your regular situation? Okay? That is the practice. That is the practice. There are a lot of people who will say that everything is illusion, everything is a mirage, it is all Maya. But the problem with that denial, is that they will say that only about the parts of life that they don't like. Correct? No? That doesn't work yet. Either it's one or the other. Either you say, this whole thing is an illusion. I am I. Or you say, this whole creation, it's God's creation. It's part of me, and I love and embrace all of it. Okay? You can't have both. No? You can't say, I don't like this part, I only like this part. It's not a buffet where you can go and take what you want. See the difference? So you go out of this, you feel light, and you share that light with everybody else. It's all about sharing, sharing, sharing. Sharing love, sharing. Next question.
Why do I feel tired after the session?
That is a good question. Why do I feel tired after the session? Because you're taking in a lot of energy that you're not used to feeling, not used to holding. And it takes a while for the body to adjust to that. It's like this. I like to run. Okay. I like to run about 10 kilometers 3 days a week. That's my usual practice, in addition to my other exercises. And that's good for me. But if I run 30 kilometers, I'll get tired. It's like that. I'm not used to running that much. So, in the same way, you're doing a little bit of sadhana, and now we're doing it all together. The energy is amplified, and the amount of energy you're taking is much more. It takes a while to adjust to that. That's all.
There's also one more question. Does the brain solar plexus balancing exercise also balance the male female energies within us?
So now we're going to do the heart mind balance, that is balancing the brain, balancing the solar plexus. Yeah. So no, doesn't. It balances the heart and the mind. For balancing masculine, feminine, do either yin yang or do cosmic tree. Okay. All right. Can we start? All right. So here's how it's done. So all of us get out of balance. Happens to us routinely. So what you do is you can do the heart-mind balance to rebalance yourself. It's very simple. Now, what I need for you is to make sure that the person that is in front of you, you need to have some space. So if you guys can stretch out, just make sure there's enough gap between you and the person in front of you. Why? Because at the end of this heart mind balance session, we're going to bend over and throw out whatever we don't need. Don't really throw up, please, but we just need to throw out whatever is no longer needed in front of within us. Okay? All right, here we go. You're going to take your dominant hand, whatever hand you use for writing, and you're going to place it behind your head. This ridge that's there, you're going to place the palm on that part. And then you're going to take your other hand, your non-dominant hand, the one you do not use for writing, and place it on your solar plexus, just below the rib cage where it comes up and forms a V. Okay? All right. Push in just a little bit, just slightly, give some firm pressure. Now, I'll tell it to you that the way it was explained to me from Phyllis, the way that Swami told her. He said, as you breathe in love and light. So let's go ahead and do that. As you breathe in love and light. And as you breathe out, let go of all negativity. Breathe in love and light. And let go of all negativity. Breathe in love and light. Let go of all negative. Just repeat this for about a minute. Take in deep breaths, inhalation and exhalation both. And when you feel you've had enough, just lean over to the side or in front of you, please not on anybody else, and just throw out whatever last bits of negativity is with you. Really bend over. Really actually bend over and let it all out. Just go blah, like that. Just like that. Yeah. Just rub your hands like this, like you're just letting go of whatever was there. And then you may feel that your hands are warm. Yep. So then you can just rinse your hand under cold water. So that is the heart-mind balance. This is something you should do whenever you're stressed, whenever you're out of sorts, out of balance. This exercise brings you back into balance very quickly. It's a very effective exercise. Okay. Any questions on this?
There is one question, not on this. Could you please speak about doing cuts individually? Doing cuts individually.
Okay. So here in the Cutting Ties group, we do group cuts because there's a whole lot of us together and we can do cuts like this and the energy is awesome and we can finish off cuts very fast. But you need to do cuts on your own, okay? And you start with your mother and father, one at a time. Those are called your primary cuts. when you're cutting ties, you're not pushing somebody away. Rather, you're removing whatever karmic ties bind you together and have like a rope around a tree that prevents it from growing. You're letting that go so that both you and the parent can grow holistically and healthy. That's what cutting the ties means. Now you're free. Does not mean that you put that person out of your life forever. It just means that you're free of whatever negative aspects were present in that relationship. Even if you had a wonderful relationship with either parent, you still cut ties so that you're free to grow on your own. This karmic pattern is present always with your parents. Always with your parents. It's always there. And cutting ties will help to minimize that. So start with your primary cuts. Then you will have other individuals with whom you may need to cut. They could be your siblings. They could be other people who don't agree with you for whatever reason. Please do not cut from your spouse. Everybody wants to do that, but we don't cut from our spouse. What you do with your spouse is you imagine the ties that are there between you and your spouse, and in your inner scene, you lift up the ties between you and your spouse and give it to the high sea. Okay? And allow the high sea to hold on to those ties. But other people, yes, you can cut. Minimum 2 weeks, but sometimes much more depending on how traumatic the relationship was. Otherwise, you do symbol cut, which is minimum 3 weeks, and that is to a non-physical, non-person. It could be, so for example, when we moved from the United States to India, I had to cut from life in the US. When you change jobs, you cut ties from your previous job. If you have an old place, pattern, other things from the past that are holding you back, you cut ties from them. Old traumas, you cut tie from the trauma, as well as a person cut separately from the person who did that trauma.
For the primary cuts, we need to take assistance from a group member who's already done it and who's an expert at it. But when do we start cutting ties on our own? Like,
Whenever
can I
you
do
feel,
it?
whenever you feel comfortable, you can start cutting ties on your own. Anyway, you do the 2-week figure 8 in the morning and evening, right?
Yeah.
That you have to do on your own. When it comes to the actual cut, in the initial stages, it's helpful to take someone else's help just for that initial part. Afterwards, you can go on, the remaining cuts you can do by yourself. Please start with the primary cuts. How many people have not done their primary cuts here? People have yet to do. Again, guys, man, come on. Ladies are like whipping us, We have to really catch up. So finish your cuts jaldi jaldi. Last question.
Yeah, there is one question that I missed. So how to do away with certain thoughts that creep in?
Okay. So for that, how to do away with certain thoughts that creep in. Why they have thoughts? Not doing sadhana. It turns out that in the Phyllis Krystal Method, there are a lot of techniques to help us with thoughts. What are they? Snake, and what else? Monkey, measuring tape, yes. I'll give you just 3 quickly. Okay, so the first one for thoughts is shown here. You can either have a monkey on a harness, like the type that people would have in the old days, or you can have a measuring tape, like the type that carpenters use. Both symbols are seen on the right-hand side of you, your right-hand side. If you're using the measuring tape, it represents your mind. And what you do is in your inner scene, you allow the measuring tape to be pulled out to its maximum length and then let go. And then just watch as that measuring tape comes winding back automatically into the case of that measuring tape with a snap as it closes. That's the monkey mind getting closed. Instead, if you like, you can use this monkey on a harness with a leash, the type that the old-time entertainers would have. And this monkey is going around and it's bothering people, it's pestering people, it's doing its monkey naughtiness. And what you do is when you see that, you just pull on the leash quietly, just lightly, and it'll come and sit back down next to you. Now, on your left-hand side, you can imagine a snake, right? Wound around a tree. On your left, symbolizing control of your emotions. The monkey mind and tape are for your mind. The snake is for your emotions. And it's wound around the bow of a tree, a branch of a tree. And the snake is holding its tail in its mouth, just holding it, not biting it. It's a friendly snake. Don't get scared. Okay, that's for that. Now, there are other things because still the monkey mind will pursue. Okay, so sometimes we feel fear. So then we have the star for fear, right? That one you all know. Imagine there's a star above you. In your inner scene, pull it down. In the center of the star, there's a black space. As you exhale, exhale your fear into the center of the star. And as you inhale, breathe in the golden light from the perimeter of the star into your body, replacing the fear that was there. Do that for maximum 2 minutes. It's a simple technique. It's one that I do every day. And then finally, what I find to be most useful, especially when there's a song going through my mind or something, or a particular thought, is to do the figure 8. So on this, you place whatever it is in the other golden circle. You're in your golden circle. Quickly run the neon blue light around, and immediately it'll go away. It could be something that you're obsessing about, something you're worried about, something that maybe you heard, whatever. Just quickly do the figure 8 with that in your inner scene. It'll be gone. The thoughts will not bother you any. Okay, so with that, we'll bring the online session to a close and we will move to the group cut. So those of you who are here in person, we'll continue with the group cut. Those of you who are online, our loving side arms to you all. And we will see you again next month, and we'll announce the dates in advance. In the Chinese New Year, yes. Great. Okay, side arm to you all.